What's up, TSOD fam? It's your boy Sean. Welcome back to the TSOD channel. I've got another exciting new video for you today. Today we're talking all about grip, all right? Pistol grip specifically. We're talking about 3 things that are gonna help you take your grip to the next level to be able to have accurate shots down range, okay? So we're gonna be talking about indexing, basically how to place your hand, where to place your hand on the pistol. We're gonna be talking about the strong side, support side relationship and how those both hands kind of work in tandem. And then ultimately we're gonna be talking about grip itself. So you're not gonna wanna miss today's episode. Definitely stick around after the intro. I'll see you in a minute. What's up, TSOD fam? Welcome back to the channel. Like I said, today we're talking all about grip, all right? Grip is absolutely essential to accuracy, speed, pretty much everything about shooting. Grip plays a part. So that's what we're gonna be focused on. Now, before we get into the video, and it's gonna be a short video, guys. I'm not going super in depth in it. I actually wanted to update you guys on some of the things that I've got going on, some of the things I've been doing behind the scenes. A couple of people have been hitting me up about the Clever Co system that kind of works with the AR Maglock as well as the AR Maglock Kingpin to kind of speed up those reloads or those mag changes, especially for my Cali folks, my Cali compliant folks. So I ordered that, it's on the way. Shout out to Clever Co for designing this thing. So I'm gonna be demoing that pretty soon on a future video. So you're definitely gonna wanna stick around, all right? Also, I've got this new belt adapter from G-Code. I finally went ahead and ordered it. Normally, what I was doing is basically attaching my G-Code RTI sort of holster adapter to kind of the outside of my range war belt. So I decided to be able to drop it down a little bit to, basically make things a little bit more ergonomic, the ability to be able to draw a little bit more efficiently. So I've got one of those adapters on the way. So I'll be setting that up on the belt here to show you guys, and that'll be in a future video. Now, before I actually get into the grip video here with my 3 little demo pistols, I actually wanted to talk to you guys about changes, some firearms laws, things that are coming down the pipe. So I want to start off with California, all right? Now, some of you may have heard that there's a potential Glock ban coming, all right? Now, in a sense, that's a real thing, okay? Assembly Bill 1127, all right, guys? 1127 for my California folks. That is basically a law banning firearms that can accept switches or these little adapter pieces that go, fit into a Glock that allows it to basically shoot fully auto, okay? And then, obviously, I'm pretty sure Glock was one of the main targets of that because these switches have been primarily designed and made for Glock. So that might put Glock out of business in California. And it's essentially a Glock ban. So I believe it's past, the California Chamber House, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to Newsom's desk for signature. So we'll see what happens with that for all my Cali folks, all right? When, shed a tear. I live in California as well. So get your Glocks like right now, whatever you've been looking to purchase, because it may not be in the shelves here in the very near future. On top of that, there are some new laws coming out about basically a 30-day rule or 1 gun per 30 days. That is on the books. I'm not sure if it's been passed, but expect, not to be able to purchase more than 1 firearm. And I'm specifically talking about private purchases, I believe. Assembly Bill 2917, that's a new law that allows the California court system to basically, issue restraining orders almost willy-nilly. Well, not necessarily willy-nilly. A lot of them are for good reasons, but now the court system can issue restraining orders to basically be able to block you from purchasing firearms, okay? So that is something coming down the pipe. Now, when it comes to national news, of course, I've been talking about the National Concealed Carry Reciprocity Bill or law. So that is HR 38. That is still moving along, and that's going to be a national reciprocity bill. So if that gets passed and it goes to the president's desk, Trump signs it, that would essentially allow a national concealed carry law that would allow you, as long as you have a concealed carry permit in one state, it would be good across all 50 states. So that is something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. I hope that does get passed. Then there's some other stuff nationally about, restoring gun rights for certain felons. So the DOJ will actually be looking at a ton of different cases, up to, I think it was like 20 million or something like that, to see about restoring some of their gun rights. Like, I get it. People make mistakes. They mess up. They do their times for the crime, whatever. And they want to be able to, exercise their Second Amendment right and be able to own firearms. So, hey, depending on what the situation was, let them take a look at it, review it, and restore at least some of the rights for those citizens to be able to carry firearms again. All right. So that is just some news I wanted to hit you guys with before we get into our video. So, all right, guys, I know you've been sticking around for a while, so let's talk about grip today. So I got three different Glock pistols here in front of me. I've got one, my Glock 43X. This is basically a slim frame, all right? So I consider this is a slim frame. So I got my Glock 19, which is basically a regular frame, in my opinion, as far as the width and the size, as you can see right here. And then I've got my Glock 30 here, right? This is a 45 caliber. I consider this thing as like a wide grip pistol as far as the width and just how thick it is, all right? So that's kind of what we're gonna be working with, these three different pistols. So let's start off with indexing. So what is indexing? Indexing is basically finding reference points on anything, particularly for a pistol in the sense of this video, all right? So indexing is basically finding reference points along that pistol to where you can grip, and it's efficient, it feels natural, it's muscle memory, and you can go to those points and you can feel them without necessarily having to look at them each time, all right? So as I'm gripping that pistol, I wanna start off, as far as my indexing, I wanna start off with that C grip or that cheeseburger grip, right? Hopefully you've eaten a cheeseburger before, but it's literally just like this, about the width of, your hand here, and that's it. You're just getting a nice grip, as you can see right here, nothing fancy. I'm not like squeezing this thing, trying to crush it or anything like that. All I have here, as you can see, is it's just resting in that C grip that I have. I'm not flexing my wrist, doing anything crazy like that. I literally just have it like this. So this is basically a nice grip to start off with. I'm not sighting it, I'm not ready to shoot. This is just a start of my grip. And I have it here in the palm of my hand, and it's just resting right here, all right? Basic weapon safety rule, finger straight off the trigger outside of the trigger guard until I'm actually ready to sight in and shoot something. So I have my trigger finger here, my pointer finger just as its index right here as a reference point. The rest of my fingers sit right under the trigger guard, okay? And notice how I'm wrapping around it a little bit. What I'll notice is some people will kind of have their grip right like this, and it'll be super weak, in my opinion. So if you have long enough fingers, big enough hands, wrap those fingers around and get a nice wrap around to where you can actually grip that pistol if you can. Now, one of the things that's starting off is the right pistol selection for you. All right. If you got really small hands, then maybe this Glock 30 might not be for you. If you got giant baseball mitt-size hands, this 43X might not be for you. Okay. So starting off with that grip, then we've got our thumb. Okay. Our thumb will generally rest along the kind of the top edge of our lower frame here. Okay. We don't want it on our slide because our slide's going to be moving up and down as we're shooting, and you can end up getting pinched or injured by that slide rotating. So you want this as a reference point, just like this, right on the polymer or plastic portion of the slide, just like this, or wherever it feels, I would say, more natural for you. So this is basically my dominant or strong side grip, just like this. I could shoot like this one-handed all day and be somewhat accurate depending on the distance. So this is my initial grip, just like this. Then we have our support or weak side hand. We want to talk about placement with that. What I'll see a lot of times is people will, shooters will kind of do one of these where they'll put a thumb on top of another, and they'll rest their support hand on top of their dominant or strong side hand. And again, this doesn't, in my opinion, offer much of any additional grip. So for me, I basically, rotate my palm just like this. And I'm trying to show it in a way to where you guys can see it. And I'll just reference or index my palm, my support side, all right, or weak side palm right up against my fingers right here. Okay, so this is the start of the marrying up of my strong side, support side hand. And then all I do is wrap my hands around just like this. And now I have two fingers pointing forward, all right? I've got my support side thumb pointing forward, and I've got my trigger finger or pointer finger pointing forward. Now with this thumb, I see this a lot of times with a lot of my students where this thumb is just kind of just moving all over the place, all right? This thumb is another support tool for you. So again, keep this thing up against the frame of that pistol, and you can rest. Primarily what I'll do is I'll rest my strong side thumb kind of right on top of, the upper portion of my support side palm, if you want to call it, or just thumb. But basically this is how it sits, all right? This is my grip. I'm going to show it to you on many fronts. Notice where my thumb is right here. My thumb is kind of right on the frame, just right extending forward. My trigger finger, pointer finger is just right here until I'm actually ready to fire. And basically I don't have to change my grip up at all. This is my grip no matter what. As soon as I get ready to shoot, all I do is transition my trigger finger from here to here, here to here, here to here. I'm not like opening my grip and doing anything crazy like this. So it starts off with a nice high grip here. You notice how with my grip, you can see right there, the meaty portion of my wrist is all the way up under this, a lot of people call it beaver tail or the top of the back strap. It just helps keep the weapon tight into your wrist right here. And this is it. All right. This is how my dominant hand right here, or my primary firing hand, sits. And my thumb is usually kind of up, just waiting for me to go just like that. Now, some people will have their support side hand canted up. For me, I rotate, I cant my hand down a little bit, okay? So I rotate just like that and I point, okay? So this is basically how I like to shoot. And it's nice and straight, it's ergonomic, it's efficient, and I'm looking straight down my sights. All right, so this is what I mean by indexing. Now, whether you have this in a holster like this, that indexing is gonna remain the same. I still have that C or that cheeseburger grip, and I basically just reaching down and I try to get nice and high up in that, on the back strap or the beaver tail right here, so I got a nice high grip. And again, straight back, and I'm already primarily in my grip with my fingers wrapped around. And from there, I can rotate down just a little bit and forward, and that is my grip. Again, I'm resting my thumb on the top of my support side wrist. As you can see here, again, I'm not pushing up against the slide because I don't want to get bit by the slide. So I'm just resting it right on top. So that is pretty much it for indexing. I know that was like a long, in-depth, long-winded explanation, but I'm just trying to tell you what works for me and what I've been using for many, many years, many decades, tens of thousands of rounds with shooting to allow me to be able to shoot accurately and efficiently. Okay, so tip number 2, I kind of already talked about it, and that is basically the strong side, support side relationship. Now with this relationship, it's almost like a push-pull effect as you're presenting out. Okay, you don't want it like fully loose and to where your support side hand is not really doing anything for you. How I primarily present out is basically have that, I don't know, what we call beer can grip, just like this. And you can see it, this is basically how it looks. And I basically just push this forward, and I have a little bit of tension, not too much tension. I got a little bit of pressure going forward, and I almost got a little bit of pressure pulling back. So it's a controlled presentation out. That is, in my opinion, how the relationship could kind of work or should work. Other shooters will have different opinions, and I get it. It's whatever works for you, all right? So that strong side, support side relationship should work in harmony, right? It should work in tandem. It should work mutually. As you're presenting out, you have a nice, I would say, strong grip to where that pistol's not really floating out as you're presenting out. It's nice and straight. So you're definitely gonna work those forearm muscles. You're definitely gonna work the bicep muscles as you're pushing out. You should feel it in here, and you should feel it roughly in this area as you're presenting out. And it's a nice tight grip here in the wrist. The wrist is nice and straight. Your wrist isn't like canted out here doing anything crazy, or it's not up here doing anything crazy. It's nice and straight for the most part, and you're presenting out. And in a sense, it's a very, very slight, very light push-pull effect here, where you've got a nice tight, dominant hand out there, and then you've got a support hand kind of helping to keep it from, turning or canting left and right. So that is kind of how that strong side, support side relationship works. It's up to you to kind of test it, demo it, see if it works for you. But these are just some basic tips that I've learned, I picked up over the years, and hopefully they can help you. In terms of tip number 3, grip, right? Just grip itself. There's a lot of different theories, a lot of different conversations, discussions about how much you want to grip the pistol. What I would say is a little bit more grip is better than a very weak, and frail grip like this. Like this right here is gonna have your shots just like flying all over the place, versus a grip where you're really, almost trying to, crush that pistol in a sense. Not too much, but you definitely want a nice tight grip. If you have a loose grip where your pistol's just kind of like out there like this, and your wrist's all like, weak, your shots are gonna be all over the place. You're gonna be missing left and right. Your shots are not gonna be consistent. But if you have a somewhat tight grip, I would say maybe about, 50, 60% of what you would try to squeeze a soda can or a beer can with might be about the ballpark of how much pressure you want to exert, how much strength you want to exert. But you definitely want a nice tight grip itself. Same thing with, just like I mentioned earlier, with your support side hand. It needs to kind of cradle and support that pistol as it's going out, helping to keep it up, helping to keep it level, all right? So the grip itself needs to be somewhat tight. It can't be loose, or your shots are gonna be all crazy. So as you present out, all right, you want that grip to be about, like I said, 50, 60% of what your, max capacity, power, strength would be, something along there. And what I would say is, when you get out to the range, test it out, all right? Test out, your strongest grip, test out all the fundamentals I'm talking about. And I think you'll notice that maybe your old grip or whatever you've been doing before, if it didn't necessarily apply some of these fundamentals, and it was maybe just like a weaker grip in general, your shots would probably be all over the place. Hopefully it's able to, some of these tips are able to get your shots dialed in, or at least allow you to engage more efficiently and more accurately. But those are my tips for you guys. You guys can totally take it or leave it. And again, it's not necessary for every single shooter out there. Everybody has a different body type, different size hands, different pistols. So if it might work for you, try it out. If it doesn't work, then, try something else. All right. So, and before I kind of wrap up the video, the fundamentals apply to all pistols, even this Glock 30, which in my opinion is just a freaking thick beast, behemoth of a pistol. It's the same. It's the same deal. I'm getting my fingers up and around this thing. This is a little bit of a shorty pistol, so I would need my magazine in here to wrap my pinky finger around so I can grip that thing and punch out just the same way with this pistol that's a little bit fatter than maybe my slim frame Glock 43X, and then my trusted G19, my comp gun, my range gun. All right, this has in my opinion, a much more natural grip to it, just because of the size. It's not as like skinny as this. It's definitely not as fat as this one, and I'm able to get a much more comfortable feel with gripping the G19 versus these others. So this is a G19 Gen 5. I love this thing. I love the grip. And I've got this little grip here, grip tape from Talon Grips. No, this one's not from Talon. This one is Handle It Grips. Love it. It feels really good. It's sticky. But yeah, so again, my grip does not change from all three of these pistols. It's roughly the same. Feels a little bit different just based off the size, but overall the fundamentals, the indexing, the strong side, support side, relationship, and the grip itself really doesn't change with just about any pistol that I pick up, guys. All right, so I know short and sweet, but I wanted to give you guys an update. I wanted to make a new video just because I've been crazy busy with a lot of different projects going on, but I appreciate the love. I appreciate the comments that you guys are throwing out there. Don't forget to head on over to TSODshop.com. I got merch, we got hats, shirts, hoodies, tank tops, bunch of stuff. Go ahead and support the channel. If you guys want to reach out to me, because a ton of people have been hitting me up on a lot of different channels, you guys can go on over to Instagram, TSODSean. You guys can find me on X at TSODSean, as well as just send me an email at team@tsodshop.com and let me know what you think. I've had to, reach out and talk to a lot of different people on a lot of the stuff that I'm pushing out there. They just want more and more information. So that's how you guys can find me. I appreciate you guys tuning into the channel, and I will see you again next time on the TSOD channel. Peace.